Hi MCOE, we are TeamPKGO, and this is the login screen for our app Matey, which stands for Manages Assets and Tracks Events for You. And we built this app as part of the 2016 Summer Mobilathon Hackathon to support Heroes on the Water. Shown on the screen right now is the login page of Matey, and this is being displayed inside of a Chrome browser on a desktop. The framework that we chose, Ionic, is actually platform agnostic, and the main benefit of that is that we get to write the same source code and build it into many different applications. So you take the same code that you wrote for the web application, and Ionic can build that into an iOS app, an Android app, or a web app. So for the ease of testing purposes, especially recording, we are demonstrating the responsive web app. But the screen is actually sized to the dimensions of an iPhone 6 Plus, and this is exactly what the app would look like if you were running it on an iPhone in the Safari browser on that iPhone. However, ideally, if this was not a hackathon, you would take this code and actually build it into an iOS app, which our platform does support. So let's take a look at some of the features of our application. So the first thing you can see here is that you log in with a first name, last name, and password. This makes it a little bit easier to remember than a username. In our modern world, we have so many different usernames and passwords, and for a volunteering organization, people might prefer to log in with some information that comes a little bit more easily. However, this could easily be changed into using a username and password, and Ionic actually does support a number of third-party authentication systems such as Facebook authentication, Google authentication, all of which have the benefit of making your app a little bit easier to use. Most people either have a Facebook or a Gmail account, and so if you added those features, which you could do easily through our framework, they could log in without creating a separate username and password. But for now, we're going to pretend that you are going to create a username and password in our application. So you would do that by clicking the register button, and you can see here that you can capture a ton of data about your attendees. So first name, last name, date of birth, password, and mailing address, all the way down to service background, what branch of the military the veterans were in, years of service, things like that. But because this is a demo, we already have accounts set up, so we're going to log in. This is just a really basic homepage that we threw together for the purposes of the hackathon. We really focused on function over form, but it would be trivial to add somehow a splash screen, data, pictures, text, anything could just go out right here, and this would all scale as part of the framework, the responsive web app that works on screen sizes ranging from a mobile phone to a tablet to a desktop computer. So let's take a look at some of the actual features of our applications. Let's start with a high-level view of the inventory system. So the first thing that you'll notice when we navigate into our inventory tab is that the inventory is broken out by asset category. This is all pre-populated test data that we made for the purposes of this demo, but in the full development cycle of this app, we would have added features down here that would allow users to define their own categories, which, as well as item templates, which would help them manage inventory at large scales. If we navigate through these categories, you won't see too many differences from each other because it's all just test data that we populated for the purposes of this demo. But if you click into an item, Basil's item for example, you can see that there's more information displayed about these items. So there's a description, when it was last checked out by at an event, who checked it out at that event, and there's also this generate QR code function, which is pretty important. So if you click this button, it generates a QR code for that item's specific data. So if you scanned this QR code with your phone, it would tell you the name of the item, the description, the asset type, as well as a unique ID that's unique across all items that lets you track that item via the check in and out system. Let's go see that check in and out system in action. So we'll navigate over to our events system, and we'll just pick an event, let's say Shauna's event. So we're already attending this event. Built into this event system are kind of the core event management features. So there's an RSVP system. We can cancel our RSVP to this event. We can re-RSVP. And this gives the event organizers a live view into who is actually attending this event. And this is all live, of course. So if we click the attendees, you'll see that my username is currently, or my name is currently Connor Beach. if I un-RSVP from this event, there's no longer anyone attending this event. So this allows event organizers to have an up-to-date understanding of who is coming to their events. You'll also note this assigned items button here, and this is what we were talking about with the check in and out system earlier. So you can assign items to events via the inventory system. This is really useful for event organizers because it lets you designate inventory that will be used for a specific event. If you have multiple events on the same day, you know which kayaks to bring to which event, for example. It also gives you an idea, a sanity check almost, to make sure that you are bringing enough equipment for how many attendees you have. If you go in here and you see that you have 100 attendees, and then you go back into this items page and you only are bringing 10 kayaks, you might want to consider bringing some more kayaks. So we can click into Basil's item here and see that there is this check-in functionality. And the last time it was checked out was earlier today. So we can check it in. And so you notice that the button changes. This item is now checked in and available to use for other events as well. This has been a quick demo of our Matey app built for the Summer Mobilathon 2016 by TeamPKGO. And while it is a bare bones functional prototype, we hope that you can see how beneficial this application would be to a volunteering organization like Heroes on the Water that manages large numbers of assets with a volunteering staff core. And we hope you liked our video.